can start, eh? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize for the late start. We had some technical issues. During the declared emergency, Committee of Adjustment virtual planning hearing are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. My name is Isaac Laluz, and I'll be chairing the hearing. Panel members participating today via WebEx and can be seen and heard are Ms. Siskind, Ms. Satarodi, and Mr. Claston. City staff will be assisting us throughout the meeting, including moderating the WebEx platform. And with us today is Simon Lamb, who is the senior planner, Jenny Kotas, and Brandon Clapp. Participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentation to the committee using the said WebEx. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. These participants will be connecting either by their computer, a phone, a tablet app, or by telephone. All participants will automatically be muted upon entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered speaker will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you're called on to speak. And for those waiting online to speak, please make sure you call with the same telephone number you originally registered with. Calling with a different number, you will not be able to speak on the item. As far as the land acknowledgement, we acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances to the provision of the zoning bylaw, permission to extend or alter legal non-conforming uses, and consents to sever property to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email only. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto local appeal body known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the local planning appeal tribunal known as LPAT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. For the hearing today, I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. When an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter directly for decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee, and I will comment when the 5-minute mark is reached. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make their presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposal at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised, to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to receive a notice are informed of the changes. Then individuals, either in support or in opposition to the application, will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of the presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has the chance to address only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will be taken to committee for a decision. Now, before us, we have here today for a motion to adopt minutes of March 11. For minutes of March 11, do I have a motion to adopt the minutes, March 11? Can I have a motion, please? Okay, I have two motions here. Mr. Klassen, second, Ms. Atarodi, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, the minutes of March 11 are now adopted, Mr. Chair, okay? Now, for this morning's session only, are they any conflict of interest to declare? Members and staff? No? Okay. Now, for the deferrals, we have a couple deferrals this morning. We'll start with number 12, which is number 12, which is 56 Teddington Park Avenue. And here we have registered to speak we have here Aidan Harridge. Are you there?
Hello, this is Giampiero Pugliese.
Okay,
I'm the principal of audit.
Yeah, could you please state your name and address, full address for the records here?
Yes. Last name Pugliese, first name Giampiero, principal of Audax, 160 Pears Avenue. I'm the architect for the project. Aidan is a staff on my
okay.
team.
That's okay. You're speaking on the item. Now, you're asking for a deferral. Could you please tell us we have some more people registered. Could you tell us the reason you are deferring the application?
Yes, we sent a letter explaining this, but basically earlier last month, we went door to door to engage in dialogue with a number of the neighbors. We were able to speak with many of them. At that time, most of it was positive. Those that we were not able to speak with, we left a letter with my contact info. It was only late last week that apart from a conversation that I had with the adjacent neighbor, it was only late last week that we actually received letters from city staff, from the councillor, and from a few other neighbors. Now, all of those letters are addressing the same concerns related to our variances. So my client, he wants to move into the neighborhood, wants to have a good relationship with the neighborhood.
Okay, well, the reason you are deferring is what? You want to continue the conversations with the
yes.
Okay.
We want to look at redesigning to reduce the variances,
Okay.
but we want to have a bit more time to engage with my client and the neighbors to come to
Thank you.
an agreement where we don't have problems.
Yeah, that's all we need at this point here. We'll see.
Okay.
Okay. So,
thank you.
So we have 3 more speakers here registered. Mr. Moderator, is Brian Boyd is here? Okay. Mr. Boyd, are you there? Brian Boyd?
Yes, hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yeah, we hear you. Could you please state...
Hello?
Yes. Could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, my name is Brian Boyd. I live at 60 Teddington Park Avenue in Toronto, and I live immediately to the east of the applicant, 56 Teddington Park Avenue.
Okay, thank you. You heard the application is going to be deferred, which means we're not going to be discussing it today. So when it comes back, you'll be notified. In the meantime, we're just deferring it. We're not discussing it if we decide to defer it. Are you okay with that?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is Marta Tori. Are you there? Ms. Tori, are you there?
Hello.
Okay.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, my name is Martha Torrey, and my address is 63 Teddington Park Avenue, which is directly across the street from 56 Teddington.
Thank you. So you
And
heard.
I would also agree that a deferral would give us time to have further discussions.
Thank you. Thank you. The last one we have John Gagliano. Are you there? John Gagliano, are you there, please? Is he there? Okay. John, Mr. Gagliano, are you there?
Yes, I am. Sorry,
Okay.
I was on mute. Yeah, you've only unmuted me now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Could you please state your name and address before we move on?
Yes, John Galliano, and I reside at 48 Teddington Park.
Okay. So you heard what's happening. If we defer it, we're not going to discuss it today.
I understand, yes.
Okay. You're okay with that, huh?
Yes, and also I believe that the architect is John Piero. Just to make you aware, I have reached out to your office and had not received a call back or any response. So
yeah,
hence,
as I mentioned, we're not going to discuss it today. When the application comes back, you'll be notified for the next time when it comes up. In the meantime, if we defer it, we're not going to discuss it. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, members, any question for the speaker, the applicant, or can I have a motion for deferral? Oh, Mrs. Kent. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. To defer something.
That's okay. After hearing the reasoning of the applicant that they would like to consult more with the neighbors to create a plan that is more acceptable to the neighbors, I think that's very reasonable, and I move to defer this matter sine die.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Tarodi, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is deferred sine die, and you have to check with the staff when it comes back next time, okay?
Thank you. Good. Have a good day.
You too. Now, the next one we have is number 13, which is 111 Cranbrook Avenue, 113 Cranbrook, application number 13. And here we have Miss Manny Yeganegi.
Yes, sir.
Yeganegi, whatever.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, could you please?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, and could you tell us your name and your address, please?
Yes, sir. My name is Manny Yeganegi, 46 McCollum Drive, Richmond Hill. I'm the architect and applicant for this application.
Thank you. And the reason you are deferring, you're asking for deferral is for what? What's the reason?
Sir, I've already sent an request letter for deferral to the committee of adjustment.
Excuse me, sir. We have the correspondence, but we need you to state it for the record officially. So tell us the reason you are deferring, you want to defer the application.
Okay. As I told in my letter, there is a neighboring tree in our neighbor, and we submitted already an application for urban forestry, but we are not sure that urban forestry will accept the injury status for this neighboring tree or not. And as I told again in my letter, so the acceptance of injury or removal for this tree will affect our proposal and our drawing.
Okay, so
that's why.
All right. Okay, so you're asking for deferral in order to confer with the forestry regarding the trees. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So we have one more person here to speak. Mary Jane Fenton. Miss Fenton, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, could you please repeat your name and address for the records here?
My name is Mary Jane Fenton. I live at 109 Cranbrook Avenue. I'm here with my husband, Steve Gilpin, who also lives at the address.
Thank you. So you heard the application is being deferred if we decide to defer it. meaning that we will not be discussing it today. We'll be discussing it when it comes back and you'll be notified. Are you okay with that?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
Thank you. Members, for Mr. Gagani, are you, do I have any questions or motion? Motion to defer? Ms. Atarodi?
Yes, to you, Mr. Chair, I would want to put forward a motion to defer the application so that the applicant have time to talk with the Urban Forestry.
Sanidai, yeah? Sanidai? Thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Okay. Okay. So, sir, your application is deferred Sanidai, and then you'll have to check with the staff when it comes back for discussion, okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay. So number 13 and number 12. All right. So we're going to start with the agenda, and we have application number 1, which is 10 Stuart Avenue, application number 1. And here we have registered Mr. Ron Rose as the agent, and we have 3 more speakers on registered to speak. Mr. Rose, are you there?
I am, sir.
Okay, so we know who you are, but please repeat your name and address for the records here.
Sure. Lauren Rose, 388 Spadina Road.
Okay. All right. So we have here, it's a new, it's a severance with two various applications. We have the staff report with conditions and the changes. They had recommend to change the 39.656 lot coverage to 31.9. Then later correspondence came in to say that that's for the building only, and 7.66 for the platform. And then we have the other conditions as far as permeable and so on, and the councillor supports that in addition to a building to build according to the front elevation drawing. Now, could you please, the reason I went through all this because there was some confusion back as far as the changes plus variance number 4 that was removed from the list of 18 becomes 17. Could you please give us a presentation exactly what you're doing, what you're changing, and what you agreed on?
Sure, Mr. Chair. Are we procedurally doing the severance first, or are we doing it all together?
No, the whole thing. Yeah, severance and the 2 variances all together.
Okay. So as you have probably read, a very thorough staff report to sever this lot and build 2 new homes in the area. While there are variances, planning staff have worked, I have worked closely with planning staff making revisions. They are all before you and have a new zoning notice sent out. So there's nothing to change other than to verify the notes from the planning report, which are the requests. If we go on, should do part 1 first, hold on. Part 1, variance 15, well, variance 4 was there twice, but as it was mailed out, variance 15, should you approve it, should read the proposed lot coverage is 31.9% for the dwelling and 7.66 for the platforms. That's what planning has asked for. So that's, and I understand the councillor who, it's great that he supports this. It isn't always the case, but he's against more than 32% for the house. So we're under that, but because the platform counts in coverage, we've asked that if you approve it, to approve it at 31.9 for the house and the additional 7.66 for the platforms, for a total of 39.56. So that's the changes, it's not really a change, but it's a request for Part A. And for Part B2, the number 8, rather than 32.11% of the lot area, we're going to reduce it to 32%. 32.0.
Yeah, I got that. Are you through? Finished?
Yes, I'm through. I can answer any questions or respond to comments from the neighbors.
So, okay, the councillor had another condition to build in accordance with the front elevation drawing. You have no problem with that, are you?
No problem with any conditions from planning or the councillor.
Okay, very good.
Very thoroughly reviewed.
Okay, so in the we have some more people to speak. So unless the members have a very fast question, we're going to bring the agent back. Is that okay? So in the meantime, we have Marin Dill and Francis Detel. Are they online? Okay, Mr.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Detel or Mrs. Detel, could you please state your name and address for us?
Yes, Dr. Mervyn Detail, 39 Bassano Road, Toronto, M2N2G9.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Could you please tell us what's your concern about this application? You heard the agent explain the application, so tell us what's your concern.
Well, my wife here is a town planner. She did a lot of planning in New York and New Jersey.
Okay, excuse me.
Problem.
Excuse me. Hold a second. Who wants to speak, you or your wife?
I'll speak.
Okay, because if you want both, okay, it's fine. But you have to share the 5 minutes with her. So please go ahead.
No,
So
I'll speak, and it's
okay.
very brief.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Yes. When this destroys the area, when you have houses made into tiny houses, all our houses are adequate size. You make this, it's going to be 2 very small houses, which will could possibly set a precedent for the area. And I'm sure they have an answer for this, but no matter what, when you make 2 out of that lot, it will help destroy the area. And furthermore, I've watched the distance between the houses and the distance of the house to the other 2 houses is always broached. I mean, it's always, I mean, have they stated how far their property will be from the adjacent properties and from each other? I've watched when we've seen this done elsewhere in the area, it is so close that to put the bricks on one side, the bricklayer just sits with his back against the other property and just lays the bricks close together. The houses get close together. Sometimes they chop out a piece of brick at the bottom for measurement. But I would state that these are going to be 2 very small properties, no matter what you are told, and that they will not have the legal distance between the 2 properties or between that property and the next 2.
Okay, that's it.
That's really it.
Okay, thank you. Let's see if the members have any question. Any question for this gentleman regarding the 2 houses and this space? Okay. Okay, next one we have. Thank you. We'll have the agent when he comes back. We'll have them explain what you're concerned about the distance and to explain that. Okay. So, Mr. Frank Carenza, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, could you please state your name and address and tell us what's your concern?
I would ask you, Mr. Chair, to ask Mr. Reuter to speak first, if you don't mind.
Whoever wants to speak, you have the 5 minutes. That's fine.
He's the next person on your list.
Oh, okay. So that's Jerry Roque, right? Oh, Frank Carenza. Okay. Okay, Mr. Carenza, are you there? Well,
Yes, I'm here.
okay, so can you please state?
So,
yeah.
as concerned neighbors, we've reviewed this application, and our primary concern is with the the consent to sever. This is a very irregular lot, resulting in one of the lots being quite small. The area of that lot on part 2 is going to be just over 50% of the minimum required area in the bylaws. I don't consider that to be a minor variance. The resulting of the severance is, the severance is resulting in the number of variances being requested, which I believe are quite numerous on both properties. Notwithstanding the reduction of setbacks, both of the proposed new homes are going to project into the front yard setback further than the homes on either side of it. And also because of the grading and the height being proposed, the part 1 lot home is going to be almost 4 feet higher than what is permitted under bylaw 7625, notwithstanding that the new bylaw has a higher maximum height permitted, which is also being exceeded. The height of the platform on the part 1 lot is resulting in a large number of steps leading up to that porch and a proposed 0-meter setback to the front lot line. There are no homes currently on Stewart Avenue or Bassano Road with a 0-meter setback to any of the front steps to those porches. And again, we think that this is setting a very dangerous precedent in the neighborhood. Also in review of the zoning examiner's notice for, in particular, the part 1 variance application, I believe there were some comments in that notice that are not being listed as required variances. There were variances, namely 8 and 9, regarding canopies and the size and encroachment of canopies, and I don't see that listed as a required variance on either of the applications. So just to summarize again, the neighbors on both Stewart and Bassano Road are very concerned with the precedent that this severance would cause or result in, with these 2 very, very small lots on a street that does not have lots this small, and basically, altering the fabric of this neighborhood and setting a precedent for that to continue should other people want to do the same thing with their lots in this neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Is your address 41 Bassano?
Yes, it's Frank Krenz. I'm at 41 Bassano Road, M2N2J9.
Okay, yeah, because we just need it for the records here. And see if the staff, the members have any question. Any question for this speaker before we call the agent? Mr. Klassen, I see your hand. Did you have any question? No. Okay. We'll have the agent back and we'll address those concerns. Okay, sir? The next one is Jerry Rocky. Is he around?
Mr. Chair, I reached out to Mr. Roki, and he's indicated that he does not wish to make a deputation today. He just simply wants to view and listen to the proceedings.
Thank you. Okay. So, Mr. Rose, can you please come back? These are the only 2 we have.
Mr. Chair, we have one more speaker.
Which one?
Brent Router.
Is that a new one? Yeah.
Correct.
Huh? Under Jerry, there is nothing. I have nobody under Jerry, nothing. She didn't, oh, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have that one. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, we have one more speaker here. Brent Rutter, are you there?
I am here, yes, thank you.
Okay, can you please state your name and address for us?
Yes, thank you. It's Brent Reuter. I live at 43 Bassano Road in Toronto, also code Mary to Norman to Jack 9.
Thank you. So please tell us what's your concern about this application.
So my comments will take a bit of a different approach than my neighbor Frank's, who spoke specifically to the variances that we have concerns with. Mine is to give maybe a little more of a broader background on the homeowner's actions to date. And a number of actions to date have been quite troubling to the broader neighbors in both on Stewart and Bassano. His actions to date sort of demonstrate that he's thinking is sort of that this approval is a foregone conclusion, and I'll outline some of the actions to date to give you some context for that. First, I'd like to state that the applicant did not seek the support of the adjacent homeowners prior to applying to the for the consent to sever and the associated variances. Second, upon taking possession of his home, he began work immediately on the removal of trees, both on the applicant's property, but then on the neighboring property at 8 Stewart Avenue. These trees are mature cedars. They're clearly on the other property owner's home, of which that homeowner had great affection for. These trees are mature trees, 12 feet in height. And the homeowner immediately upon building his fence instructed his contractors to remove these mature trees.
Mr. Rotter, I don't mean to interrupt you, just to help you out. We don't deal with trees here. If they go,
okay.
if we say subject to forestry, they'll have to deal with them. Because if they didn't have these variances here, they will still cut those trees and they won't be here. So please, that means we don't, it doesn't mean we don't care about them, except it's not our,
Yeah.
Okay? Thank you.
Understood. Okay.
Thank you.
The next sort of troubling action is the recent installation of the swimming pool and associated cabana structure in the rear yard of the proposed Part 1 property. The said pool appears to be closer to the lot line than is permitted by the bylaw, and the cabana accessory building was constructed without a permit and appears to be closer to the lot lines at the rear of the site than is permitted by the bylaw. And we've attached associated photos to demonstrate that. The site work also involved with the installation of the pool during the winter months left dirt and debris in the street during the entire winter, blocking the catch basin. So you're seeing a pattern of behavior here. There are also several mature trees in the front and side yards of the subject site that could be in danger of being removed and or damaged due to the construction of the new dwelling. And based on his previous actions, we certainly have concerns that this would be something that this individual would do. So these trees are both within the city right-of-way and on the subject property itself. And the Toronto Urban Forestry must be made aware of both the trees already being removed and the potential for these other very mature trees being damaged as a result of the application moving forward. And that concludes my comments.
Oh, thank you. So just wait and see if the members have any question for the speaker before we call the agent? No? Okay, so Mr. Rose, can you please come back and address those concerns?
Here.
Mr.
Hi. Yes, great. So I'll start with number 43's comments, who said that there was no reach out to the neighborhood. My client dropped off 21 letters requesting if anybody wanted to discuss it with them about the application. He did speak to some neighbors personally, but we did reach out to the neighbors. The pool and the accusations, the city has signed off on the pool, so there's no variances for the pool. If there were, we'd just seek them out. My client lives in the property right now. In regards to number 41's comment about the height and size of the lot, planning has vetted this extremely thoroughly, as has the councillor, and as we probably know, this councillor sticks up for the neighborhood quite strongly and wouldn't support it if he did not think it was in keeping with development in the neighborhood. One of the reasons we need a 0 setback for the stairs is to preserve a city tree. If you see my site plan, I'm not sure if staff can put it up. There's a tree that prevents us from exiting from the front door straight out, so we do have to turn the stairs sideways with a landing. In terms of number 39's comments, if staff can put up the site plan of the proposed two new dwellings. I'll continue to talk. You know, I understand that the committee doesn't work on precedent, but the planning department does work on precedents. And precedence has been set here. There are several severances in the area on the street. Rosano Street is connected to Stewart Street, but if you look where the objectors are living, they can't really see the houses. If you look just at the north part of the page, you can see what the existing setbacks are for other adjacent homes, and at the bottom of our site, our setbacks far exceed what is existing conditions on irregular shaped lots. There's almost like, if there's 1 foot setback, that would be an exaggeration. So those are the comments. We're talking about side yard setbacks, some height. The planning department asked us to reduce the height to be in keeping with other developments in the areas. We complied. Very thorough review and analysis of lot area and lot frontage. We're exceeding the lot frontage. Yes, we're short on lot area, but this is often what happens in irregularly shaped triangular lots. I have no other further submissions. I believe it meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act, and I can answer any questions.
Thank you. Members, any question for the speaker? Yes, Ms. Siskin? Go ahead.
Thank you. There were the concerns that were raised by the neighbors about it being inappropriate development for the neighborhood in terms of the severance piece. And I know, Mr. Rose, you just addressed the issue saying on another street close by or perpendicular to Stewart Avenue that there are severed lots. But can you speak to that issue in a little greater detail, please, about the appropriateness of severing the lot on Stewart Avenue in particular?
Sure. Yes. Can staff put up the zoning map? That will clearly illustrate it. And the severances are on Stewart. So it's actually on this street. Just wait while staff puts up the zoning map. By the way, you'll notice there was an issue with trees, which is being dealt with. It was an accident. Forestry's aware, the neighbor's aware. You'll notice that the neighbor that was affected, number 8, is not objecting. He has his house listed as a lot for severance on the MLS right now, so he's not concerned here, but it is being dealt with. So if staff can blow up that map, you can see 2 doors over, there's already a severance. There's further down, you can see 34, looks like a severance there. There's a severance, 6A and 6B. If you go further over on the street off the map. So clearly this area is an area in transition, as indicated by planning staff support, and a councillor who is very much against this sort of stuff is actually supporting this application. So severances are have already been dealt with on the street. And number 8 is, if he hasn't already, he is coming in for an application to sever. And planning would support that as well. I think that answers your question.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay, if there Ms. Satarodi, did you have your hand for a question? No? Okay, can I have a motion then? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, after listening to the presentations and reviewing the package and the staff report and the letters, I'd like to move to approve this application. It does seem to be in keeping with the development pattern on this street and the neighborhood. So it'll be subject to the standard conditions from planning. It'll also be subject to the staff recommendations that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the site plans, that the driveway be developed with permeable pavers, and as we discussed, that variance 14 be changed from 39.56% to 31.9% for the dwelling and 7.66% for the proposed platforms, and that variance 8 be changed from 32.11% to 32%, and that it also be subject to urban forestry.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Klassen. There was one more building in accordance with front elevation drawing that was requested by the councillor, and the agent is okay with it. Are you okay with that, Addict 2?
I'm okay with that as well.
Thank you. Okay, so second, do you have second? Can I have a second, please? Mrs. Kent, second. All in favor? Opposed? Ms. Atarodi is opposing. And sir, your application is approved, subject to all those conditions. Do you want me to repeat them or you all have them?
No, that's fine. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Application number 2, which is 146 Bannockburn Avenue, application number 2. And here we have here a registered Alex Savagno. Mr. Alex Savagno.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. Alex Avenue, planner with Bousfields, 3 Church Street, Suite 200.
Thank you. So we have here the consent of consents for the variances plus 2 variances. Staff reports just standard conditions. Forestry, we have it, and you have 4 letters of support. Okay, so could you, because there is this consent and variances, could you make us a small presentation, please, and tell us the merit of the application before we go to the decision, because I have no more speakers here.
Sure. Well, would staff mind pulling up my presentation materials? It was submitted, I believe, on June 28th. Is it possible to put it on the screen is what I'm asking, please?
Well, it is on the screen.
Yes, this. Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. As I said, I'm Alex Avenue, planner with Bousfields. We submitted this presentation as well as a letter, a planning rationale letter describing how the application meets the 4 tests of minor variance in the Planning Act. So I'll just go through this rather quickly. Yeah, page 2, that's great. So the subject site is on the north side of Bannockburn, just east of Bathurst. So it is located at the edge of the residential neighborhood and mixed use and apartment buildings along Bathurst. If you can go to the next page, please. It's currently developed with a 1-story residential dwelling. To the west, there is an apartment building with access to underground garage. And if you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, recently severed property to the east. And if you can go down more, please, to page 4. So just a little bit about Bannockburn. I'll explain this in a little bit more detail later, but there have been 4 pretty much identical severance applications creating 8 pretty much identical lots is what we're proposing along Bannockburn. Those are at Part 1 and Part 2, 141, 144, 145, and 147. And if you can go to slide 5, please. And just in terms of the surrounding context, even outside of Bannockburn, again, this area has experienced significant renewal. I walked it probably about 2 weeks ago. I'd say about 75% of the dwellings are rebuilt, and you can even see on the bottom middle photo, you know, a row of 10 rebuilds, and again, similar severance and minor variance applications. Next slide, please. So the proposal today is to demolish the existing dwelling and create two new two-story detached dwellings. They are slightly different, but very similar variances are required from each part. Next slide, please. The first variance, just talking about the consent. So each lot is going to be approximately 303 square meters. And you can see on this map that the 8 other lots along Bannockburn that have been severed that are very, very similar in size. And other ones, as you can see, further south and further north too, but we haven't identified them here because we don't have the C of A approvals. And again, a lot of them are located on the west side of the neighborhood. And planning staff in their report do concur that the lots are, or the proposed lots are consistent with this fabric. Next slide, please. Frontage, very similar to lot area. The other approvals that have been approved for lot area have similar ones for frontage. Again, our frontage is 7.65 meters, so completely in accordance with the other 8 lots on Bannockburn and other ones in the area. Next slide, please. So these maybe I'll go through rather quick. We have a side yard setback variance. The one thing we want to show here again, out of the 15 dwellings or lots on Bannockburn from Sunshine to east of Bathurst, 8 of them do have side yard setback variances. You can go to the next slide, please. This one basically, just because I'm running out of time, let's skip this. If committee has questions, I can come back to it. Lot coverage, this one I'll be pretty quick. We are only 2.5% above the 30% required maximum. So again, very modest increase. Next slide, please. Height, another one I won't spend too much time on. We do comply with 569/2013 maximum for height. So this is more of a technical variance. And I'll just close by saying city planning have no objections. We agree to their conditions in the staff report. ECS staff have no objections. We are okay with the urban forestry conditions. As you said, Mr. Chair, several support letters on file, no objection letters, and happy to answer any questions you may have with 1 second to spare.
Thank you. You're 5 minutes and 1 second. You're very good. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. Any members, any questions for this speaker? If not, can I have a motion, please? There is no other speaker. Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair. In reviewing the application and the staff report and the letters, I move to approve this application. It is, I think, in the context of the development that's occurring, appropriate. It'll be subject to the standard staff requirements and also subject to urban forestry.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Skind, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is approved unanimously, subject to that condition, okay? Condition of staff.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Application number 3, which is 844 Don Mills Road, application number 3. And for this, we have the agent, and we have also, actually, we have 3 people, and it seems like they're all for the same application. Do I have here Cynthia McDougall?
Yes, good morning.
Okay, can you please state your name and address and tell us who wants to speak on this application?
I'm going to speak on the application. I'm the agent solicitor. My name is Cynthia McDougall. My address is 55 King Street West. That's McCarthy Tetro's address, which is on the cover letter.
Mm-hmm.
M5X1E6. And I'm ready to proceed.
Okay, now.
I have two other people if there were questions, but
yeah, just
the architect of the project.
Yeah, just a second, please. We have here registered on the same speakers, Megan and Kevin. Are they going to speak or just you?
I am just going to speak. They're
Perfect. Okay.
only here to answer questions.
Perfect. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you very much and good morning. I'm here on behalf of Don Mills ARH Homes Limited. This is the development at the corner of Don Mills and Eglinton, known as Crosstown. I have a package that we sent over with some slides which identified the story regarding why we are providing bike parking and how it's being provided effectively at grade as well as the first floor, as opposed to the variance, which suggests that we're not providing enough bike parking on the first floor below ground. So essentially, thank you. If you turn the slides, you'll go to the first page. If you could flip it for me. This locates the site. It's known as Block 12. It has multiple towers. It's a residential development. It has some townhouses. It's going to be a wonderful new community that was supported by staff and the planners. And there's an underground garage. What's interesting about the site is it's incorporating the Park End Heritage Building. So if you look at the red outline, you can see how it jigs and jags as it goes toward Eglinton. And that's because the incorporation of the Heritage Building will be part of the fabric of the building, which is shown in a picture later on. But that makes the underground a bit more complicated. If you turn the page, this just mentions the fact that, again, we're incorporating the south walls of the Park End Building. And we all know we need housing in the city, and this is about 1,200 plus units that will be included. If you turn the page again. You will see the Park End Building, which is incorporated into the base of the towers, the mid-rise buildings. And care has been taken not to have the underground garage extend throughout. And you'll see what it does to the underground garage when I go to the further on. Next page, please. So this is one variance where you're supposed to use 25% of the first level of the underground for bike parking and then thereafter tumble it down. But what's happening, what's interesting here is the first level of the underground is actually on the Winford Drive at grade, so that bike riders will be able to access it directly. And so the first level is similar to an at grade relationship, and the second level is similar to a first. So we are providing all of the long-term bike parking spaces, which, by the way, are about 1.08 per unit. And we're having at least a minimum of 30% on the first level, which will be accessible from grade at Winford, and the remainder on the second level. And so if you turn the page again, you will see how the garage itself for parking, for circulation, is rectilinear to provide for the aisles, and you move around the garage. And that makes sense because the heritage elements pop out. And we've used those spaces for a long-term bike parking and short-term bike parking, and that's reflected on the first and second floor. So this is an unusual underground condition related to making sense of parking on a shared underground garage in an area which I look very forward to having developed, and I'm hoping that you agree with me that the variances are minor, appropriate, meet the intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw.
Thank you. Yeah, just for curiosity, what is the difference between short-term parking and long-term parking? This is for bicycles. They're all for the same thing.
They're visitors. So long-term is the residents and short-term are the visitors.
Oh, okay. So for visitors is a short-term. And that's
yes,
and that's limited for the 25 and 30% of the thing. Okay, okay. Any question? It looks like it's minor, but if you have any question, if not, can I have a motion, please? Mrs. Kind? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that what has been described by the agent for or counsel for the applicant, as well as after having reviewed all the plans, and also with the knowledge that bicycle parking is often quite challenging in apartment buildings or condominiums, and I think that this is a very positive thing for the city. I'm going to move to approve this application.
Thank you.
I believe it meets the four tests.
Yeah, there's no conditions. Thank you. Second, Ms. Tarodi, all in favor? Okay. Your application is unanimously approved and there is no conditions.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I just want to ask a question because I spend a lot of time on the presentation material. The little package that came, did you understand it? What did it make sense to you?
Excuse me, we're having a whole full agenda here and we approved it. We shouldn't go back to the package, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4, which is 2 Brendan Road, application number 4. And here I have only one person here, Matt Jessewisk. Are you here?
Yes, I am here.
You're the agent. Could you please state your name and address for us?
Yes, my name is Matt Jackwitz. My address is 240 Viceroy Road in Vaughan, Ontario, and I'm representing the homeowners of 2 Brendan Road in
Thank
Toronto.
you. Okay, thank you. So we have here a sunroom to be built rear addition, 5 variances, and the TRCA has no impact, no objection, and there is 6 letters of support. Members, do we need a presentation here? I don't see the, no. Okay, thank you. Okay, sir.
I'm disappointed. I don't have to do a presentation. That's okay.
Well, just a second. I was coming to you. The full presentation, the members doesn't need it. Now, they don't need it. Now, you tell me, what else do you want to add that for us?
No, it's okay. I came prepared and I don't get to do it, but that's okay. We'll take the approval and we're okay with
So,
it.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
I appreciate the presentation.
Okay, now we need a presentation. You got your wish.
I'm sorry, Amanda. Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Make your presentation, and you have your normal 5 minutes.
Well, so yeah, the long story short was there was a sunroom that was dated and it was of poor structural stability. But so we were doing a repair and discovered that it really, it almost couldn't be repaired. So we rebuilt something much better. Long story short, COVID impacted our situations and TRCA got involved and we went through a lengthy process of meeting in the middle on what's the right approach to rebuild the structure safely. So the existing structure, which was here, you can see it's quite old, dated, needs a little bit of tender love and care. And so we began the repair process and discovered that it was beyond repair and started to rebuild around the existing structure. But because the footprint changed, we were kind of at this point here with TRCA and with Committee of Adjustment. And so it's been like this for the last few months, and we're happy to get the approval because we're one step closer to getting our building permit approved and finishing the project.
Thank you. Any question? Any question for the speaker? Okay, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Tarodi?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I put forward a motion to approve this application. I think there's no TRCA. With no other condition.
Yeah, okay. And second, Mr. Klassen, all in favor?
If I may make a friendly amendment, I believe there are urban forestry conditions that should be attached.
I don't think there is.
There is. We're still speaking with them. Actually, we're just resubmitting some documents for them.
Excuse me, who's speaking now?
I believe that was the applicant.
Is there forestry there? I don't see it. Eh? No? Oh, that's ravine, just ravine protection. Okay, so you want
Well,
to put? Yes.
I can amend it and subject it to the report for
Ravine protection. Okay, so you're okay with the amendment, and second was Mr. Klassen, and all in favor? Okay, your application is approved, and you made a very good presentation.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, number 5. Application number 5, which is 3 Dromore Crescent, application number 5. We have here one person, Honglin Kui. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you please repeat your name and give us your address?
My name is Honglin Chui from Broadview Architect, and the address is 10 Four Seasons Place, Suite 1000, Toronto.
Okay, thank you. We have, this is a new dwelling, just one variance and forestry condition. Members, do we need a presentation? No? Yes? Yes, Mrs. Kane? Mrs. Kane, go ahead.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute for a moment. Yes, I would appreciate a presentation on this application.
Okay, can you give us please a small presentation?
Okay. Here is the second committee of judgment process. The first one happened in end of January, and it was approved. But because we didn't realize that there is a conflict definition of building height between the old North York zoning bylaw and the new citywide Toronto zoning bylaw. And we missed that item in last application, and the building department picked up that and notified us that it is not in conformity with the old bylaw, although it is fully compliant with the new city bylaw. So we have to go through this application again and just get this resolved in the in here in the meeting.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
The building height is under 10 meters, comply with the new city Toronto citywide bylaw.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, any question? Can I have a motion, please? Mr. Tarodi? Please go ahead.
Message. Put forward a motion to approve this application subjected to forestry.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Siskind, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, your application is approved, subject to forestry.
Thank you very much.
Application number 6, which is 115 Whitmore Avenue, application number 6. And here we have Mr. Ali Shakiri. Are you there?
Ali Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have here just a new dwelling with a forestry condition. That's it. But we have another speaker here. Is the speaker online? Nancy Wang. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we have one more speaker here. So please go ahead and make a very short presentation.
Yes, we, as you mentioned, we have just one variance for the floor area, increasing from 60% to 80%. There is no other variance with regards to the building envelope. We're not asking for a side yard or front yard, building height, building length, with regards to every basically other provisions of the zoning bylaw. This house is in compliance. We have done a case study for this. We haven't uploaded it, but as an instance, if I can have the the location map on the screen. I can explain a few of the previous decisions on that location map. May I ask the staff to show the location map? Yep, the side street, which is Park Hill, that's number 28, for example. It has a floor area of 83%. That was one of the cases that we looked at. Number 122, Whitmore, which is just maybe 30 or 40 meters to our west on the same street, has been granted a floor space index of 94%. And there are other examples of the same type of floor area approved in the same area along with several other variances. So we didn't want to have any other variances. We just needed enough for the family that is going to be living in this house, and that's what we're asking here. I have no further comments, and if there is any question, I'd be more than glad to answer.
Thank you. Is the FSI includes the basement?
No, it does not.
No.
Similar to every other house.
Okay, thank you. We'll bring you back, and then if there's any questions, in the meantime, we have one more person here. We have it registered as Nancy. Who wants to speak for 108 Whitmore? We have here listed Nancy Wang. Mr. or Mrs. Wang, are you there? Again, Nancy Wang or Mr. Wang, are you there? Are they shown as a? Are they shown online? Could you maybe maybe we'll. No answer, huh? So obviously they're not there, huh? Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I've searched for first name, last name, and I just tried calling the deputant, and no answer.
Thank you. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any other speaker except Mr. Shakuri. So any question for this agent? No questions, then can I have a motion, please? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve this application subject to urban forestry.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Tarodi, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is unanimously approved. Subject to forestry.
Thank you very much.
Subject to forestry, yeah? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 7, which is 222 Dunview Avenue, application number 7. And number 7, we have here, the agent is Arjan Beheshi. Are you there?
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chair. Arjan Behesh from Homeland, 49 Wycliffe Crescent.
Thank you. We have a number of more speakers here, and here you have a dwelling with the revised variance. There is some conditions from the staff, and there is one letter of objection and condition to forestry. So we have the revised variances from the staff and the condition. You saw those ones, and please cover them in your presentation. We'll give you 5 minutes, and then we'll get back to we'll call the other speakers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'd like to first announce one change to the application. If you could please change variance number 3 regarding the side wall height from 9.99 meters to a now reduced 8.9 meters. And that change is as a result of our conversations with planning, and we would like to fully comply with those suggestions. Now, I see that the slide number 1 of the presentation package is listed. Thank you very much. So I'd like to begin my presentation actually with that same variance number 3 regarding the sidewall height, which has only occurred around the areas you see on the screen marked in pink. And that's due in part to the modern architectural design of the home, which has its main front wall returned slightly to either side of the home, and also at one side because of a 4-foot wide window, which allows for natural light into the second floor bedroom, which only faces that side. Next, if I could please see slide number 2, I'd like to speak to the projection of the rear deck. Now, the projection you see highlighted in yellow is the projection as of right, and it's the only portion which encroaches on the bylaw is the very narrow stripe highlighted in blue. So as you can see, that narrow stripe, the encroachment, is very, very insignificant, we believe. Next, if I could please see slide number 3, we will see why the building height variance triggered under the old bylaw only has occurred, in part due to the grade difference of the front of the home shown in green, and mainly due to the definition of the building height under the old bylaw, which measures the height from the crown of road to the midpoint of the roof, as shown by the arrows at the right in pink. Whereas the new bylaw measures the height from the established grade where the building actually begins to the very top of the building, which accounts for the main mass of the structure. So we have been very careful to maintain the height of the building under the new bylaw. And finally, if I could please see slide number 4, we have delivered letters to the immediate neighbors of the subject property. There were some concerns of privacy from our neighbor immediately to the west at 220 DUNVIEW Avenue, and we met with them in person at our offices and came to a resolution which involved items that don't directly relate or refer to the minor variances. And after seeing objection letters from other neighbors, we quickly reached out and see if we could come to a similar agreement. But unfortunately, the neighbor at the rear didn't respond to our emails, and we had a conversation with our neighbor to the east, but couldn't come to a resolution. So I will address their concerns during my rebut. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So you said you want to change the variance number 3. That was in the staff report from 999 to 8.9. The staff report.
Yes, exactly.
The staff report also there's a condition to build in accordance with west and east elevation drawing. You're okay with that too, right?
Yes, definitely, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So now we have here 3 more speakers listed for this application, and the first one is Sean Zhang. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, I've reached out to Mr. Zhang and Mr. Zhuang, and they do not wish to speak to this application today.
Okay, so we have just Yannick Wagner. Is
Correct.
that the only. Okay, Yannick Guana, are you there?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, so please state your name and address and tell us what's your concern about this application.
I think that is, here is Jean-Paul Gana speaking on behalf of the family.
Okay.
And Jean-Paul, my first name, and last name is Gana. As the, agent, the designer stated, we had a conversation, and, we were not able to come in kind of, common understanding of the reasoning behind all the variances. I think that is, he did mention that the variance number 3 that he discussed with the city staff, and he reduced it. And I think that is, and one thing that, we didn't agree on, because this is, we're saying this, these variances. One question was, so why do we have, all this, bylaw requirement, and we deliberately, violate them, because making this variance is violating, bylaws, and which is the bylaws is not there to be violated. That's something that I told him. And the second one, and some of these little, variances, there's nothing in the documentation, because we all know that there's always a merging error, and there's nothing stated there to say that how we will stick one. This, for example, want to say that it's it's only a 1.95 variance, how can we really make sure that is as we constructing or building, we stick at with 1.95. Those are some of the things that we didn't agree on, and it really and also getting the runoff went to my side, because when we're getting this, instead of 1.8, we get to 1.25. It's too much. I mean, that is more than half a meter, and we know all the implication in the runoff, and how this will how it will be at the implication on my side. Those are some of the things that we discussed, and we were not able to really have a clear answer from him. And and he said that, what, I think one thing that we agree on is that the designer, and the builder is something else, would do this is someone else, and he said that, to make this really happen, we have inspectors. The inspector will be there to enforce some of these variants. And one thing that we probably need to build into this, and what is the the margin error for having this, because that is, to me, that is something that is really fundamental here, and the bylaw is the requirement needs to be enforced, not giving all this flexibility that we see there, that they say this bylaw, and at the same time we having all these variances. That's what I told him, and which is really not something that should happen. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, stay right there. Yeah, I understand your frustration. If we have a bylaw, it should be followed. Why are they having all these changes, right? But yeah, and certain things we don't deal with there, like the runoff. You mentioned runoff, and you mentioned the trees. We don't deal with them here. Only with these variances, and for the changes of these variances, we will have the speaker, the agent, come back and speak to your frustration. Okay. So in the meantime,
through Mr. Chair, I think that is these variants have implication with the runoff. Okay. You cannot. We cannot. It's a systemic issue.
Okay.
You cannot split them out.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see if there's any more questions. Any question for the speaker? No more? Okay, we'll have the agent.
Mr. Chair, if I may, before we bring the agent back, I did speak to Mr. Zhang from 218 DUNVIEW.
Yes.
He expressed that he has concerns, but did not make a formal submission, and he still cannot speak to this application.
He still
today.
doesn't want to speak?
No, but
okay.
he wished to express concerns.
But he wished to express. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay. The agent, Arjan Bennett, can you come back, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Okay, you heard the speaker right now who spoke, and then we have another one, Mr. Zhang, who did not come to speak, but he still has concern and would like you to cover the problem of the variances. Okay. Are you still there?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I was just muted. I'm here now.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So to address the concerns of our neighbor at 226 DUNVIEW, we certainly appreciate Mr. Ghana's proactive involvement in order to make sure something beautiful and suitable is built in the neighborhood. We do, however, disagree with the fact that the presence of any variances would mean that an application is unsuitable or undesirable. On the contrary, Mr. Chair, this Committee of Adjustment, just like the bylaws themselves, exist for a reason. And with 800 applications per year at the North York Committee of Adjustment alone, there is a very real need for minor relief from some bylaws, especially in cases where, for example, in our case, the home is smaller than the average home in the neighborhood, and the width specifically of the home is actually smaller than what the bylaw requirement itself allows. Speaking, for example, to specific variances, if I could please see slide number 10, for example, regarding the side yard setback, it's based on our experiences in the neighborhood. Something interestingly enough, which is directly reflected in the bylaw itself, is that generally, because there's a 10% of the front width of the home should be used as the home's side yard setback. If I could please see slide number 10, of the presentation package, we can see that reflected directly in the bylaw, which requires, for example, 0.6 meters or 2-foot side yard setbacks for homes with frontages of 6 meters or 20 feet wide, then 0.9 meters or 3-foot setbacks for frontages of 9 meters or 30 feet wide, and in our case, 1.2 meters or 4-foot side yards for frontages of 12 meters or 40 feet wide, and so on. And the reason that this variance specifically, for example, exists for our side yard is because the minimum required frontage for a home in the neighborhood is a minimum of 15 meters, while we have a frontage of just 12 meters. And in regards to, for example, character of the neighborhood, in the past 10 years or so, every 40-foot wide home we have seen being developed specifically in the neighborhood of Willowdale has had side yard setbacks of 4 feet. And I have many decisions in front of me, again, with even wider homes with side yard setback reductions. For example, of 238 Dunview Avenue at 46 foot wide, 198 Dunview Avenue at 64 foot wide, 281 Dunforest Avenue at 45 foot wide, and 234 Dunforest Avenue at 60 foot wide. So I would like to assure Mr. Ghana that we have researched all of these facts. We have very much experience in the neighborhood of Willowdale specifically, and we are aware of the character of the neighborhood, the character of the developed neighborhood in the past 10 years or so, and we have put forth an application which follows all of these, is really desirable, and it's an application which has been thought about extensively. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay, yeah, if I understood the speaker before, he says that the variances are one thing and the runoffs are one thing, but they are they're interrelated. You couldn't separate them. So it would be nice if you speak to the neighbors and explain them what's the difference and how is the runoffs are being done, and they'll be checked by the city. Unfortunately, is not here. So
yes,
that would be
exactly, Mr. Chair.
That would be
exactly.
Okay. All right. So any okay, we'll see if the members.
Sorry, I can speak to that fact, Mr. Chair, as you pointed to. I would like to just briefly mention that the Committee of Adjustment is just one facet, one portion of the approval process for a building permit. Another one, which comes at a later stage, is actually has to be approved by a Ontario approved licensed surveyor, which would actually create a grading plan that then the excavators and landscaping team would have to follow to the letter, which deals specifically with water runoff. I mean, a grading plan is prepared specifically for that reason. So just to point to the water runoff issue.
Thank you. Okay. Any other question for this member, for this agent? Mrs. Kind, yeah?
In reviewing the application, there was a neighbor who raised the issue, some privacy issues in relating to the deck being too high. I'm wondering if the applicant could just address that privacy concern.
Absolutely. Through you, Mr. Chair. If I can please see slide number 6 of the presentation package. Please. While that's being prepared, I will start my explanation. The neighbor actually pointed to a few facts. Privacy was one of them. The height of the deck was another. The height of the deck is actually as of right. The only issue at hand is the projection of the deck. And as you saw during my presentation, the entire deck highlighted in yellow, and the portion of it which actually projects past the requirement of the bylaw was highlighted in blue. It's a very, very minor encroachment. In terms of privacy though, if I could please see slide number 8 of the presentation, wonderful. That view is actually from the backyard of 222 Dunview, the subject property. A lack of trees in the rear yard was mentioned by the neighbor. There are tons of mature vegetation in the rear yard, including the majority of which is evergreen, which provides year-round privacy to all neighbors. So a lack of privacy and a lack of trees really is the incorrect justification for that deck. And if I could please see slide number 6, we would see this issue even more clearly because, again, as I said, the only variance which we deal with regarding the deck is its projection. The red line you see highlighted on the page is actually the required building depth. So theoretically, we could push the building as far back as that red line. At that point, the deck actually can project by law 2.5 meters from that line. So theoretically, the home itself and the deck could project more into the rear yard, all while actually removing that variance for the deck. So in terms of privacy, in terms of its projection, in terms of its height, I believe it's a very clear issue. The last point I should raise is that the deck, highlighted by that arrow in purple, the direct view of the deck is actually to our neighbor at 225 Dun Forest, and the neighbor who has complained about the deck issue is 229. Sorry, it points directly to 225 Dun Forest, while the neighbor is at 229 Dun Forest. I hope that answers the question.
Any other question? Any other question? Okay, if not, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve this application. It is minor and there are steps being taken to address the concerns of neighbors. So variance 3 is changed from 9.99 meters to 8.9 meters, and the proposal will be constructed substantially in accordance with the west and east elevation drawings, and it will also be subject to urban forestry.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Atarodi, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is approved, subject to the change of number 3 variance and conditional forestry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee members.
Application number 8, which is 458 Hounslow Avenue, application number 8. And
Mr. Chair, if we may, we cannot connect with the agent currently, so.
Oh, can we
perhaps
put it on hold?
Yeah, we'll hold this one.
Okay, so you let me know, please, when it comes up. Okay. We'll go to application number 9, which is 120 Olive Avenue, application number 9. Mr. Ali Tanha, are you there?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and the committee members. I'm here.
Could you please state your name and address for us for the record?
Ali Tana from Ali Design Inc. Address is 59 Rocket Crescent, East York.
Okay, here we have a new dwelling, 4 variances and forestry. So, members, do we need the presentation here? No? Okay, sir, the members don't need the presentation. Did you want to say something before we move to the decision?
No, I think it's straightforward, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry?
I think it's straightforward application,
Right.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
All right. So we'll move to the members, see what the question is. Can I have a motion, please? Or questions or motion? I have two first ones here. Mrs. Kent first and second. Ms. Atarodi, all in favor? Mr. Klassen, thank you. Okay, your application is unanimously approved, subject to.
Chair.
Sorry?
Chair, subject to forestry.
Yeah.
Forestry.
Forestry, yeah. You said it, no? Okay.
Any motion, just approve it.
Subject to forestry.
Okay.
Thank you. Was it? Yeah. Ms. Tarodi. Sorry, Mrs. Kent, you made the motion, right? Okay, and seconded by Ms. Tarodi. Ms. Tarodi, yeah. And
I would like to make the motion, if I could just speak to the motion before I make it.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it will be very quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So I have read the materials and have reviewed all the plans and the application, and I do believe that it meets the 4 tests as required and that the variances that are requested are minor, and I move to approve this application.
Subject to?
Subject to forestry.
Thank you.
To
And
forestry.
second was
Thank you.
Ms. Hatarodi, right? Thank you. All in favor? Okay, so your application is approved, subject to forestry.
Thank you.
Is number 8 back? No? Okay, we go back to number 8.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I wonder if we could take a small recess at this time.
Okay, yeah, they haven't called him yet. Okay, all right, so we'll break for about 5-10 minutes and we'll come back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Takes all kinds to make a word, huh? I think you guys are gonna have overtime today. This is not even half of the morning. C'est la vie. I'm sorry? Oh. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're resuming the session, and we're back into item number 8, which is 458 Hounslow Avenue, application number 8. And the agent, Ashgar Arhengar, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you please state your name and address for us?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and the other members. My name is Asghar Oreziga. My address is 5 Billinger Street, Richmond Hill. I'm the owner agent of 458 Hounslow Avenue.
Okay, we have one more speaker here, so we need a presentation for you. Give us please a small presentation. You have up to 5 minutes time, and tell us what's the merit of your application.
Okay, the application is about demolishing the existing house and construct a new two-story dual single family. And the application is very straightforward and everything is clear. The variances that we are proposed are regarding the number one is minimum size of the west side yard setback bylaw is 1.8, and we propose to 1.2, only a part of second floor in west side. And the number two is permitted maximum height of the side exterior main wall is 7.5, and we propose to 8.77. The third one is regarding maximum lot coverage in this area by law is 30%, and our purpose is 32%. And fourth one is about the maximum height of building. The bylaw permitted to 8.8, and our purpose is 9.21. So the variances are very similar in this neighborhood, and we are okay with the staff report and forestry report for the condition. And I will be happy if there is any answer, any question, and I will answer it.
Thank you. So you saw the condition of the staff. We have one more speaker here. Is Mr. Berger there? Yeah. We have here Chaim Berger. Are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Can you please state your name and address for us for the records?
I'm Berberger, 454 Hounslow Avenue.
Okay. So can you please tell us what's your concern here?
Oh, no concern. We just wanted to get information.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So you're listening to the conversations. Okay. So the agent, can you please come back? We'll see if there's any questions for you. Okay. Any questions for this gentleman?
No.
No, I'm asking my members.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. If there is no questions, then, sir, did you want to add something? The gentleman here said he has no concern about your application. He just wanted to listen. So did you want to add something before we go to committee?
No.
No? Okay. Any question or motion on this here? Is that question or motion? Hello?
It's a motion. It's
Motion.
a motion.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have reviewed the application and listened attentively to the presentation made by the applicant. And I am moving to approve this application with the condition set out in the staff report that the proposal be constructed substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustments attached as attachment 1 and 2 to the staff report, and also subject to urban forestry.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Atarodi, all in favor? Okay, so your application is approved, subject to the condition of the staff. and subject to forestry. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay. Application number 9, sorry. Yeah. Application number 9, which is 120 Olive Avenue, application number 9. That's when we did it. Oh yeah, I had it. No.
Mr. Chair, yeah, we held item number 8 down. We proceeded to number 9. We did. So we're on to number 10.
Item number. Hello? Yeah. Item number 10, which is 32 Silvergrove Road, application number 10. We have just here Marin Zabzuni. Are you there?
Yes, my name is Marin Zabzuni at 1140 the Queensway.
Thank you. Okay, so we have here just 4 variances and nothing else. Members, do we need a presentation? No? Okay, sir. Yes? No? Okay. Okay, we don't need a presentation here. Do you want to add something before we move to committee?
Basically, briefly, we're proposing a 2-story detached dwelling. We've reviewed the area. The homeowners have spoken to neighbors as well. We send in a letter of support. And essentially, we believe that this dwelling meets the 4 tests and would be a great fit for the neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any question? If not, can I have a motion, please? Motion? Mr. Tarodi?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I put forward a motion to approve this application. I think
Okay.
there's no condition.
No conditions. Second? Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Okay. Okay, sir, your application is approved and there is no condition.
Thank you.
Number 11, which is 70 Dunblaine Avenue, application number 11. And here we have one person, Ali Malikzadeh. Are you there? Mr. Malikzadeh?
Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you please repeat your name and address for us, please?
My name is Ali Malikzadeh, and 236 Les Mills Road is my address.
Thank you. So we have here, yeah, we have, there's no other speaker here. And we had there's 6 variances, forestry, that's all we have here. The forestry only advisory, comments only. But we have no more speaker, but there were 3 letters of objection. Could you just cover shortly what was all about, because we had objections even though they're not showing up today. So could you please give us a small presentation, very small?
No problem, Mr. Chair. This application was before this committee October last year, and we were having the 3-story versus 2-story situation, and the planning department didn't support that 3-story, and this application was rejected. From then, we improve our design, and that 3-story situation is eliminated. So the proposal is a 2-story. Single family home, and compared with the previous application, we improved the proposed height of the building, as well as the square footage of the balcony at the front of the building as well. The only right now variance regarding to the balconies is a number of the platform at the front of the building. There is nothing at the back, which is disturbing the privacy of the neighbor. It's just at the front. We kept the building length the way that we proposed it before, and we had very close communication with the planning department for our new proposal. They were happy with the building length, and
Are you finished? Yeah.
I'm sorry, in terms
you-
of the height, they were not, I'm sorry, can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Did you finish? Yeah, we hear you.
Yes. No, just in terms of the height, also as we improve compared with the previous proposal, the planning department also, they were happy that we are keeping the height under 9 meters. And that's overall comparison with the previous application we submitted last year.
Okay, thank you. Members, any question? We don't have any other speaker here. Ms. Satarodi?
I have a question regarding the variance number 1, lot coverage of 34.6% versus 30%.
Yes.
I need some explanation.
This is compared with the what is happened already in the area. Many of them was our project in that area, just the block south or north. I know that I don't want to take a time from this committee with going with all the address and so on, but this is within the approval of this committee in the area, and then we have approval up to 36-37%. We closely also look at to this item with the planning department, and then they look at to the other approval of the area, and they saw it is within the reasonable coverage for the area, and especially about this site.
Okay. Any other question? Can I have a motion there? Anyone for motion? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, after reviewing the documents and also looking at the letters, I see that a number of revisions have been made to the proposal, and I believe now it does meet the 4 tests. So I'll move to approve this application.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Hiskins, all in favor? Opposed? Ms. Satarodi is opposing. Okay, sir, your application is approved, and I don't see any conditions.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Item number 14, which is 614 Saint Germain Avenue. Application number 14, because we did 12 and 13 were deferred. So here we have Mr. Glenn Robinoff. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon.
Okay, please, your name and address, please.
Yes, it's Glenn Rubinoff Design Group, 18 Gloucester Lane, Toronto.
Okay, we don't have any more speakers here except you. So we have these 5 variances, 4 is 3, and 3 letters of support. Because there is it looks like there's this 3-story. Could you give us a small presentation, please, and tell us the merits of this application?
Sure, thank you very much. I would like to address the 3-story because I had a discussion with the area planner. If you look at the variance, it actually says, note, elevator landing is considered the first floor. So if you were to go to that a main floor plan, we're talking about a landing behind the garage that they're calling the first floor.
Yeah.
It's actually it's an accessible home because of the elevator, and this landing triggers a variance. Other than that, it's a standard home in the area. So as I said to planning, this isn't a 3-story home. She goes, I know, but it technically it's identified as such because of that landing. So this is why there's a variance for it. It's because of a landing for an elevator. If we didn't have an elevator, we wouldn't have this variance. And it is inaccessible home. So that's to address that point. The other variances, 2 of them related to height under the old bylaw, are related to a grade differential between the road and the property, and that has That kind of explains the reasoning for that there's a difference in the grade where the height's taken. Under the new bylaw, under the present bylaw, the overall height is in compliance. And lot coverage is with the area map that was just shown earlier. We did a study of the whole area, and what we found is that what we're requesting, the 34.98%, is within what has been approved in the area consistently, and we feel that this is an appropriate development for the site. They did talk to the neighbors. They made efforts to even look at the landscaping. They created a very extensive landscaping plan to show their commitment to the property, to make sure that it's going to be a nice addition to the neighborhood.
That's it.
So that's all I wanted to say. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I would like to. I wanted you to cover 3-story, just to mention, because this is very common as technical 3-story, because it's really 2-story just because of the room above the garage. So it's very common. So I wanted you to specify it. And here, condition of forestry. Any questions for this gentleman? We don't have any other speaker. No? If not, can I have a motion, please? Mrs. Kent, yeah?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have reviewed the materials and listened to the presentation made by the applicant, and it does appear that this is an appropriate development, and it does meet the 4 tests, and it appears that the variances requested are minor in nature. So I will move to approve this with the conditions put forward by Urban Forestry.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Opposed? Mr. Tarodi is opposing. Okay, Mr. Robinoff, your application is approved, subject to forestry.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. Application number 15, which is 166 Brookbanks, application number 15. And here we have just one speaker, who's the agent, Mr. Zhudong Tang. I hope I pronounce it well. Can you please, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm there.
Yeah, could you please state your name and address for us?
Hi, my name is Xu Dongtang, and here to represent Mr. and Mrs. Richardson, the owner of 166 Brookbanks Drive.
You're the agent for the 166, okay? And
yes.
Here we have one car garage to the existing dwelling, 2 variances, TRCA report, no objection, no permit required, and transportation report, no objection. Do we need a presentation here? No? Okay. Sir, we don't need a presentation for this application. Did you want to say something before we move to the committee?
Okay, no, I just short the time. Thank you.
Okay, we'll see if there's any question. Any question for this gentleman? If not, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Tarodi?
Yes, to you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And second, Mrs. Kind, all in favor? Okay, your application is unanimously approved and there is no conditions.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good day.
16, application number 16, which is 167 Church Avenue, application number 16. So we have here Alva Roy. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is Alva Roy.
Could you please give us your address before we move on?
Yes, I'm an architect and agent on behalf of the owner, 12 Georgia Street, Sharon. I'm presenting the application for 167 Church Avenue on Villadale area.
Thank you. So we have here, this is a new dwelling, and there was a you indicated that you have a number of changes regarding number 1, 4, 5, and 6
Definitely, yes.
variances. So could you please go over them for us before we move to the committee?
Yes, the original was, we have a couple very good conversation with staff, planning staff, Mr. Romeo, and we changed it to variances number 1 from 1.2 to 1.06, and we have, instead of 0 architectural features, 0 meter to the property sideline.
Excuse me, can you please just give us the number of the variance, the changes, and then you can
Number
speak
1.
after? Okay.
Yes, number 1, we change it from 0 to 75 centimeter or 0.75 meter away from property line. The other one is very concerned about the committee. I mean, the staff were very concerned about was number 3, about side setback from 1.2. We change it to 1.6. Sorry, we changed it from 1.2 to 1.75. See, so we almost close to 1.8. This is so minor. The other one, we change significantly number 5, which was the biggest concern of the staff. From 34% of lot coverage, we reduce it to 30%, to 32%, sorry, to 32%, which normally in that area is approved. And also we delete the variance number 6 in order to maintain 75% required from landscape.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, okay, so just to go over the changes, you change number 1 to 1.06 and 0.75. Yes. Number 4, you change
Correct.
it to 1.75. Number 5, number 5 change it to 32%, and number 6 was eliminated. Correct. Okay.
Yes, definitely right.
Okay, please go ahead, just for the records here. Please go ahead.
Yes, and we have a little bit parapet. I just want to explain about the parapet. The examiner, because we are in flat roof, and on the flat roof is maximum height is 7.2 meter. So we have just 1 meter parapet, but our roof now is 7.8, and the examiner consider from the original zoning bylaw of the 7.2, and now that makes a little bit strange of 1.6, which our parapet is not 1.6. Actual parapet is not 1.6. We are just 1 meter. So, and only a very small portion of the building at the front, and is not any impact on the back yard, any kind of problem with the shade and the sun direction. We only have a small portion of the front. If you take a look in the drawing A06, yes, that one, just you see on the left side, very small portion is a kind of fake, but is a little bit higher. That's the normal of the zoning, which is in the front of the building and not in the back of the building. The whole mass of the building is on 7.8, which I discussed with the Mr. Romeo of the staff meeting, staff planning department, and he said we are okay with that.
Okay, all right. So let's see if the members have any question. Any question for this gentleman? You saw the changes, and if you don't have any question, we need a motion, please. Can I have a motion, please? Ms. Tarode?
Yes, to you, Mr. Chair, I put forward a motion as per to you as the following changes. Number 1, it changed, the 0 changed to 1.6 meter into side yard setback. Number 4 is the east side yard setback is changed to 1.75. And number 5, the lot coverage is 32%. Number 6 eliminated, and there is no forestry. No other.
I think there was forestry, I think.
Is it okay? Then subjected. Yes, there is forestry.
Yeah.
So subjected to forestry.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Second, Mrs. Ken, all in favor? Okay. Thank you. All right. So, sir, your application is approved, subject to those changes you made and subject to forestry.
Very appreciated. Thank you very much.
Okay. That's 16. Application number 17, which is 61 Bedford Park Avenue, application number 17. And here we have Manuel Gillen. Are you there?
I am here, Mr. Chair. I am representing the authorized agent of the owners of the 61 Bedford Park.
Thank you. And here we have a number of speakers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more speakers. And here you have this addition, second floor and third floor. Staff report has a condition. We have a number of letters of a number of objections. And variance number 1, department measured from. Okay, so can you please make a presentation for us? We give you the 5 minutes before we start to call the other speakers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to note that there was a small change from the zoning examiner in the verbiage to the bylaw amendment number 5. The verbiage changed from front yard to side yard. I just wanted to make sure that you had that change. He said that he was going to make sure you had it before this.
How about variance number 1? Are you changing it?
No, there's no changes into the requested variances except for number 5, which changed from front yard to side yard. It's just the verbiage that was changed by the zoning examiner.
Okay, all right, so please go ahead.
Mr. Chair, that's a big change. From front to side, is that? Can you repeat that change again?
Yes, so the change was made by the zoning examiner from front to side. Everything is the same except for the verbiage, which I believe he made a mistake on his first issuance of the zoning notice.
What variance was that again?
Number 5.
Yeah, they explained it. I saw the letter, but they explained that the amount of is only the building itself is only 17.54, and the so that's what the department said before. You're not the way the variance is written. You are not changing it, are you?
It's being changed, the verbiage of it, from front yard to side yard, but everything else has stayed the same. The design didn't change, the measurements didn't change. It's just the verbiage from the zoning examiner under number 5.
Variance 5, as you can see on the screen, deals with front yard soft landscaping.
Yeah.
Correct. So the verbiage that changed was not the percentage or the proposed percentage or the allowable percentage, just the verbiage from front yard to side yard.
Yeah, just a second. Let me ask the staff. The change of the sidebar, would that make a change for the variance?
Well, if that doesn't make sense, why is it a side yard now?
Yeah.
This is a corner lot. So I believe that when the examiner was performing his zoning notice, he probably made a wrong assumption of front to side based on where we have the proposed main entrance.
Do you have something that you can show us that has a revision to that?
So I have the zoning notice that was forwarded to me by the examiner, which he said in his the same conversation when he noticed this. This was last week. He said that he was going to make sure that you were aware of this, and that all I needed to note it was at the beginning of the presentation, like I'm doing right now. I do have the zoning notice, but I'm not sure if he actually forwarded it to you.
Could you please explain it on the board there, as far as where is the exactly the side back and how it is changing from sites to? Can you please put one on the screen?
Sure, I can give you the presentation, and this should address as well probably where the issue was. So before we started this concept design for this proposal, we wanted to make sure that we were not creating a paradigm shift in the area. But basically, instead of doing this, we were trying to follow previous paradigms that have already been associated with this zone, with this area as well. So as such, some of our biggest variants, which would be under the floor space index for variance number 2, we noticed that there were at least over 12 applications that have been previously approved under the same procedure of Committee of Adjustment. At the same time, what we're trying to do of changing the main front entrance and that main entrance to the side yard being this a corner lot, which you can probably appreciate in the site plan, has also been identified prior to the beginning of this concept design in at least 6 other properties just along Jedburgh Road, which have also been, within a less than 150-meter radius. Now, what we're trying to do here is give the family a single-family home by creating these additional square footage that they need. Based on COVID, and now they want to have their parents with them. They're trying to extend this square footage to make sure that everybody's comfortable within the house, and that's also situational in this case why we're requesting these variances. Now, when it comes to the actual lot itself, again, it's a corner lot, which is not very geometrically uniform. It has basically at the front less than half the distance of what it has at the back, making it a very trapezoidal shape, and as such is not acting on our behalf when it comes to meeting these required floor space indexes. Now, again, the remaining part of the variances that we are also requesting are also situational in terms of how the building is positioned within the lot. The lot next to the property, specifically on the east side, adjacent to this property, is basically 5 meters further north to the property than what this house is. And as such, this obviously has been triggering additional variances, such as, the building depth, which when you add up those 5 meters are basically, that's where they come from. Now, when it comes to the roof eaves, speaking to variance number 3, again, this also is an issue because it's also, we're staying within the existing footprint. So at that point, we're not really, adding anything that's already non-existing. It's a legal non-conforming condition. And again, the only variances that we're right now being subject to would be under number 5. We are creating this, not meeting this side yard soft landscaping requirement. However, based on how the building is positioned within the lot, you can make up for it on the front portion of the property.
Are you through, sir?
I am, yes.
Okay. Now let's go back to the number 1 because there's a confusion here. I have here from the staff report, they say that the 22.81 meters is calculated required front yard setback. The actual length of the building is only 17.54. But in order to ensure the increased building depth remains as proposed, the drawing submitted, staff recommend that the approval be made subject to to the property being in accordance with the plan drawing submitted, just according to the plan submitted. So in other words, the 22.81, it was measured from one side back, and that's why it resulted in a big length rather than 17.54. So
Correct. The building itself is only 17, like you mentioned, and the way the building is positioned within the lot is what triggered this variance.
yeah, and the condition of the staff to attach it to the site plan, you're okay with that?
Correct.
So let me ask the staff here.
Mr. Chair, my concern is the wording change in variance 5. That's my concern.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Could you explain again number 5? Why are you changing the wording, and if that will change the landscaping?
So nothing has changed from what was originally submitted, except for the verbiage, as mentioned, by the zoning examiner. This is not something that we created this change or we triggered it. It was really, I think, a misinterpretation from the examiner to begin with. And then he later amended that by changing that verbiage on item number 5.
So the way number 5 is written right now, you want to change it? And that's
so anything that says front yard should be in reality side yard, but the percentages and the requirements are the same.
What do you think?
Mr. Chair.
What do you think, Mr. Planner?
Simon?
What do you think?
Can staff just pull up the site plan? I just want to take a look at it.
Could you pull the site plan?
I just want to know where the variance is supposed to take place.
Yeah. Hold a second. There was did anybody there wanted to speak?
I just want to, through you, Mr. Chair, comment that because we're tying it to site plan, it will explain that it's a corner lot.
Yeah.
And we never have a variance for the side yard setback. We mostly have front back. I think because we're tying it to the site plan, it will explain, and we don't need to change the wording, but it completely depends on what staff recommend.
I would not recommend changing the
No.
wording at this point.
Yeah.
I think you should go forward
I agree.
with the application.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. If you change the wording of what is submitted, then create a problem. Now, the question, do we have to change it or just leave it as it?
But I would leave it up to, I would suggest the applicant, I would suggest going forward with it because I don't believe we should change the wording. If you believe that the zoning examiner will have an issue with it, I would suggest deferring this application, resending notice out with the correct wording.
Well, in this case, I wouldn't know what the zoning examiner would say, other than, he did amend this and he mentioned that it was going to be forwarded on our behalf to the committee. So it was unfortunate that it wasn't. I'm not sure if he's going to have an issue with that further on if the verbiage isn't changed. I'm assuming it would. It could cause an issue. So.
Well,
And at this point, I would suggest deferring this because I don't believe we should be changing the wording. It went out as a front yard landscaping
Yes.
variance to
Yes.
the neighbors, and that's the way the public notice
Yeah.
stands at this point.
And in line of so many people who are here, we have to go through all these people. And they'll be confused. So I think the deferral would be an answer. Yeah. Yeah. Sir, do you hear what we're doing here? If we want to do the application exactly the way it was, then we don't have to worry. But when we start to change the verbiage, then we have to defer it and check with the examiners and come back with the right wording. That not only confused the issues here, but also all these people who are attending and when you speak, they'll be confused as well. So,
Correct.
so we're going to have to defer it. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so I think
Okay, I think that's probably the better path to take. If you're unsure whether the examiner will accept front yard, then I think it's better to defer it, and it will also give the neighbors an opportunity to see a more correct worded public notice at this point.
yeah, exactly. And also like when the variance itself, we shouldn't be changing it as far as the. Okay, so okay, sir, we'll call the other people because we have a number of people who are attending. So let's ask them and let them know about the deferral. Okay?
Oh, Mr. Chair, can I just confirm that the applicant is requesting a deferral at this point?
Yeah, he said it. Yeah. So can you repeat it, please, Mr. Manuel? You're okay with the deferral now, right?
Yes, we're okay with the deferral just to make sure that it complies with what the zoning examiner submitted last week.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we have here Jerry Nambing 1. Are you here?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
could you
here.
please state your name and address, please?
My name is Jerry Wang. I'm the owner of 59B Bedford Park Avenue, and we're the immediate neighbor of 61 Bedford Park Avenue.
Okay, so you heard what
And-
we're doing. There is a change in the wording of the application, and we can't decide on it today, so we have to defer it, and you'll be notified as far as the timing when it comes back. So, in other words, if we defer it and we're going to decide on it, then we won't have to discuss it today. Okay?
Okay, understood.
Thank you. You're okay with that? Okay.
Yes.
The next one is Gloria and William Chu. Are you there? Are they there? Yeah. Gloria?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, Gloria and William Chu, we're the owners of 57 Bedford Park Avenue.
57 Bedford. Okay. You heard what we're doing. If we defer it, then we will not be discussing it today. You're okay?
Yes, that's fine. I agree with the deferral.
Thank you. Lin Jiang. Lin Kanging Jiang. Are you there?
Yes. Hi. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Could you please state your name and address?
My name is Lin Canning Jiang. My address is 59B Bedford Park Avenue.
Okay. And you heard what we're doing. If we defer it,
Yes.
then we won't discuss it today. You'll be notified when it comes back. Okay?
Okay, that's fine.
You're okay with that? Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cynthia Saruk. Are you there? Cynthia Saruk?
Could you unmute me? Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Your name and address,
Yes,
please.
my name is Cynthia Saruk. My address is 59A Bedford Park Avenue. I'm the other half of the semi-detached
Thank you.
house
Okay.
to 59B, and I agree with the deferral.
Thank you. Okay. Next is Dominic Nanoff. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You heard. Could you please state your name and address?
My name is Dominic Nanoff. I live at 55 Bedford Park Avenue.
And you heard.
And I do agree with the deferral.
Thank you. Lorna Rivoli. Are you there?
I am.
Okay. Your name and address, please.
Lorna Reevely, 41 Bedford Park.
And you heard what's happening. If we defer it, we're not going to discuss it today. Are you okay with that?
I agree with the deferral.
Thank you. Okay. So, there is a request from the agent to defer it to address the concerns of the application and the way it's submitted and the wording. So, any question for the agent or a motion? Ms. Atarodi?
motion to defer the application so that the agent can have time to deal with the zoning examiner and the wording of the variance and also with the neighbors. Sine die.
Sine die. Thank you. Second. Mrs. Kind, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is deferred sine die and check with the planning, with the staff when it's coming back.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, item number 18, which is 180 Snowden Avenue, application number 18. And here we have David Trim. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We hear you. Could you please state your name and address?
Yes, my name is David Trim. I'm at 182 Snowden Avenue.
Thank you.
To the east of 180 Snowden.
Okay, so we have here, it's a new dwelling. Yeah, 50% of structure, transportation, no objection. It looks like almost straightforward, but there is nobody else to speak here, but we had letters of objection. Could you please give us a small presentation as to the merit of your application?
Okay, well, we just have a concern about the water dispersion relative to the east side setback. We found the initial site plan drawings to be lacking in a couple of dimensions that left things a little bit confusing for us. Mostly what we're concerned with is the dispersion of water from the large and soon to be extended roof. And the fact that it appears in the drawings that that water is going to be coming down onto our driveway, which is not shared, excuse me, but which is direct between the two houses without any soft landscaping.
Sorry, Mr. Chair?
There's also a slight, grade issue. So.
Sorry for the interruption, but I believe this gentleman is the neighbor.
Hello, can you please state your name and address here? Are you the neighbor?
Yes, I am, 182 Snowden.
Well, just a second. The agent here is, you're unknown, so who's the agent here?
Mr. Chair, I believe there was an email sent this morning indicating that Tony Diodati is the agent.
And he's not here.
He is present, yes.
Tony what? Yeah, I don't have him here. All I had is David Trim.
Yes, hello? Hello?
Yeah. Could you please hold on a second?
Yes, hi.
What's his? No. The agent's name is what?
Mr. Chair, again, there was an email circulated this morning from staff indicating that Mr. Tony Diodati would be representing this application. I do not think that you have the updated package. So Mr. Tony Diodati is the agent.
Mr. Diodati, are you here?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay. Can you please tell us your name and address?
Yes, it's Tony Diodati of Orange Ink Design. My address is 134 Park Lawn Road, and I'm here to represent the owners at 180 Snowden.
Yeah, so we didn't have you here originally. You just sent an email saying that you want to come up. You weren't recorded before here. You didn't register your name before, right?
I believe there was a mix-up, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we have one more speaker here who started to speak. We thought he was the agent. So because we have him, we need you give us a small presentation.
Okay, no problem. So we have before you 6 variances, 2 of which repeat and deal with the parking in the front yard. The owners had approached me some time ago to assist them in planning and designing a fairly reasonable and modest addition and renovation. We tried to respect the site boundaries as well as the building footprint as much as possible. And as such, we are left with a few variances, some of which deal with the proposed addition, and some are as a result of just maybe some challenging existing conditions. We feel that the variances in front of you are minor. As well, we have reviewed the report by transportation, and they too are in agreement that there is no objection with the front parking issue. The neighbor that is about to speak has reached out to me requesting some information regarding the cladding of the proposed cladding on the east side, as well as a copy of the survey. I understand through their letter that they have an issue with drainage, and myself and the owner are fully are willing to work with them, as we understand that drainage cannot adversely affect neighboring properties. Although I think it must be said too that this is something that's best handled during the building permit process, and as well likely throughout the construction process. And as such, again, we believe that the variances proposed are minor and in keeping with what has been approved within the immediate context over the past several years. And we hopefully and respectfully request that you agree that they are minor in nature.
Okay. Sir, your email came here this morning at 8:30. We didn't have him here. So let's hear the other person who started to speak. David Trim, are you still there? David Trim.
Hi. Yes,
You're
I
still
am.
there.
I
Okay.
am.
You
Yes, I am.
You started to speak, registered here as one speaker, so you talk actually instead of the agent. So could you please continue your concern, and then we'll have the agent answer on it.
Sure. Yes. Well, I was surprised too at the #1 billing there, but thank you for having me back. We agree that that these are likely minor variances to the application. We merely wanted to make it noted that we do have concerns about the drainage based on some aspects, both of the proximity of the houses together and a driveway in between, which we use. Also a little bit of grading issue as well. We thought it important to note that we do have these concerns. I did speak to Tony at one point a couple of weeks ago after we received the notice, and was appreciative of his contact. So we do not have any reason to think that we cannot work this out with them, assuming that the building department is and permit department is helpful in that regard to address our concerns, because they are concerns that also get heightened during winter time and fall and spring shoulder season. So we're fine overall with the application, and thankful that you were willing to hear me today. And we do appreciate going forward to be able to work with Tony and the neighbor on this.
Okay, yeah. So in working with them, obviously they will address the concern of the drainage, because we don't deal with it here. So so let's see if the members have any question for the speaker. He's not the agent. He's one of the neighbors. Okay. So Mr. Tony Diodati, can you please come back?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so you addressed some of the concerns. Would you complete your conversation regarding his concern?
Yes, I mean, as stated, the homeowner is more than willing to work with the neighbor in addressing this issue, and I too understand that it can be an item, a point of contention whenever there's drainage issues at narrow property lines. But I'm comfortable in proposing solutions that moving forward during the building permit cycle that will address the neighbor's concerns specifically. And I I don't find the issue unsurmountable. So I do think that we can work together to solve any sort of drainage pattern issues that may occur on that east side of the property.
Okay, all right. So in your application, I saw somewhere that this is 50% of the old structures will be kept. That would make any difference to a new property that's being designed. Is that correct?
Correct, and that was like a big challenge for us, is because we did want to respect as much as we can of the existing structure and footprint and not turn this into a new build. So
okay,
we were trying to really fit within the context.
okay, thank you. Questions? Mrs. Kane, go ahead, please.
I have a question for the agent, for the applicant. I have reviewed the application, and variance 3 seems to be substantial, and I'm wondering if you can speak to that variance for us.
Okay, so variance 3. Now, in planning of the dwelling, I guess, you know, we, again, starting with the premise that we wanted to keep this as a renovation and respect the boundaries of the existing home as much as possible. So, I mean, this is a young growing family, and what we're looking to do is add a bit more space, make it a bit more functional, and as well correct something's wrong with the property. So we saw it as our only option would be to extend a bit to the west, and as well just construct over a single story addition at the rear. Now, in doing so, you know, we did look at other precedents set in the neighborhood in terms of floor space index, and we found that, you know, in our research going back many years within the vicinity on Snowdon, that they ranged from, you know, 0.6 FSI all the way up to 0.67. So we thought it would be reasonable to fall, you know, in that range, and as we do on the lower end. Again, you know, as a number, I can appreciate, you know, the sound of 0.62 over 0.35 sounding like a fair amount. However, in terms of actual square footage and how it's distributed on the property, we do think it's fairly modest. Also considering that, you know, even though it is a 0.62 FSI, we are not challenging any height bylaws or any building depth bylaws or building length bylaws. So, you know, we worked pretty hard to kind of really make it as efficient as possible and not trigger too many bylaws.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other question? Any other question? Okay. If not, can I have a motion, please? Anyone for a motion? Okay, I have two now, two motions. Okay, Mrs. Kent, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Having reviewed the materials and heard the concern of the neighbor, I do agree with the applicant's agent that the water issue can and will be dealt with during the permitting and with the Ontario Building Code. So I'm comfortable at this stage that this application does meet the four-prong test, that it conforms to the general intent of the official plan and the bylaws, and is appropriate development, and the variances are minor in nature. So I'm going to move to approve this without conditions.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Okay, unanimously approved, sir, and there is no conditions.
Thank you very much, Chair and committee members.
Okay, item number 19, which is 131 Points Avenue, application number 19. And here we have the agent and 1, 2, 3, 4 more speakers. Now let's check properly. It said here the agent did not register. Is this really an agent here? Okay. Nafise Zangiabadi, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I hope you pronounced your name very well. Could you please state your name and address for us, please?
Yes, my name is Nafisa Zangiabadi. This is 30 Apple Orchard Path, L3T3B6.
Okay, we have here that's for new dwelling. We have 4 variances. The staff report submitted the changes that you submitted before, and could you please go over them so we know what we're doing here? Okay.
Yes. We are going to make some changes to the application as per the staff report. We're going to reduce the main wall height to 9.48 meters. And we're going to reduce the coverage to 32%.
Mr. Chair, can the agent specifically state what variance they're changing first, please?
Yeah, she said number 1. Is number 1, you said you're changing to what?
Yes, 9.48 meters.
Hold a second. I have in my record 849. Is it 948, 49?
The staff report asks us 948. Let me just...
The original was 999. And my record said changing to what?
The staff report, I think, asked us to 9.48. Let me just double check. I'm just going to choose. Because we're going to comply with whatever staff suggested.
Mr. Chair, the recommendation is on page 2 of the staff report.
Yeah. Okay. 9.48. Okay. And okay, so you're changing from 999 to I like you to repeat it, please.
Yes. Just 948.
948. Okay, so this is variance number 1. And next,
yes.
Next.
Coverage to 32%.
Number 2, you're changing it from 32.3 to 32.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now there is a condition from the staff, and there is also an additional condition from the counselor to
yes, and we would.
In accordance to west and east elevation. You're okay with that too?
Yes, we are okay with
okay, so please go ahead.
Okay, so the application deals with 4 variants. 2 of them are related to the height and 1 to the coverage. The coverage, which is 32%, is in keeping with the neighborhood. And we agreed to reduce that to 32% to be in the range that has been approved in the area. And as for the height, as you see in the drawings, the number is due in part to in the front of the house. Actual physical mean height is only about a foot more than what is permitted. So the reason that the number is just because it's been measured to the top of our architectural element in the front. The height variance number 4, as for the height under the old bylaw, it's just a technical issue because it's been measured from the crown of the road. And we do comply with the overall height under the new bylaw. Variance number 3, which is just minor for the front stairs. So we basically are dealing with 2 variants, coverage and height, and I explained the height is more of a technical matter than a physical variance. So I believe the variances are minor in nature and in keeping with the area's decision.
Okay, so we'll bring you back after we hear from the other speakers, okay?
Sure.
We have here Dionarin Ramdas, are you there?
There. Can
Could
you
you-
hear me?
Yes, could you please state your name and address for us, please?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Alicia Ramdas. I'm speaking on behalf of my parents, Dana Ryan Ramdas and Vade Patty Ramdas. They own 135 Points Avenue, which is west to 131 Points Avenue.
Thank you. And tell us what's their concern, your concern about it.
So our concern remains the same despite the recent proposed adjustment to the variance, the opposition to the variance pertaining to number 1, chapter 10.20.40.10 2B1 in violation of bylaw number 569-2013. The proposed height of the side exterior main walls facing a side lot line is now just recently adjusted from 9.9 to 9.48 meters, which is not a significant difference. This is significantly higher than the maximum 7.50 meter permitted height of all side exterior main walls facing a side lot line. More specifically, it would unreasonably exceed the city's permittance to the new adjusted difference just mentioned, which is again not significant, by 1.98 meters. It would be a fair estimate that this excess would be almost comparative to appearing to be an additional story taller than the city standard bylaw. Thus, instead of appearing approximately 2 stories in height, it comparatively may appear almost 3 stories in height. As a result, this variance, nonetheless slightly adjusted just now, again to reiterate, which is not significant at all, would overshadow my parents' property and significantly block sunlight to my parents' lot. In short, this proposed building will tower over my parents' home and other neighboring properties. And at the very least, this violation of this bylaw would set a detrimental precedent for the neighborhood and compromise the overall integrity of property lot and exposure to sunlight. A good compromise, if I may suggest, in discussion with my parents, the proposed height of the side exterior main wall facing a side lot line reasonably should be rounded to maximum 8 meters. Thank you.
Okay. Could you please hold on just to see if there's any questions? Any question for the speaker? Okay, so we'll move to the next speaker and we'll have the agent come back and answer your questions. Okay? So the next one is Helen Duzani. Are you there? She's not there, huh? Okay. Okay. Rodolfo Carnovale. He's not there either. Okay. Karen Braid. Okay, Karen Braid, are you there?
Karen Braid, 132 Johnston Avenue.
Thank you. So please tell us what's your concern about this application.
I echo Ms. Ramdas's family's concern about the height of the exterior main walls. While I appreciate some effort was made to reduce to 9.48, it's not satisfactory to this household.
That's it.
Additionally, I had a question about the tree that is in the backyard, and I was also wanting to know if there's plans to remove that tree, because that also contributes to our privacy. Contributes to our privacy at 132 Johnston.
Okay, we'll hear the applicant as far as the height. The trees, unfortunately, we don't deal with them here. We have condition for forestry, and they will have to deal with forestry about the removal of the trees. So that's the last speaker here.
Mr. Chair, if I may, it would appear that Helen Desani may be present.
Which one?
Helen Desani.
Oh, he's back. Okay. Helen Duzani, are you back? Are you here? Helen Duzani.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, welcome back. Could you give us your
you.
name and
Let's hear all
address,
about-
please?
Yes, my husband is going to speak, Rafiq Dosani.
My name is Rafiq Dosani. I'm
Okay.
with my wife, Helen Dosani.
Okay, and who wants to speak, you or your wife?
We both going to speak. I'll speak.
No,
I'll speak
no, no,
first.
no, no, hold a second.
Within our time allocation.
Excuse me, hold a second. Usually we give 5 minutes for the presentation. Either you do it, she does it, or you share it, both of you. So please go ahead.
Thank you very much. We are on 129 Points Avenue, east of the property in subject property. Our concern is, as previously mentioned by two speakers, there's a height. Height will be significantly higher, may have the same issue, using a sunlight, losing a sunlight, and be towering over our property. Our house is bungalow, and it'll cut down our light as well as towering over our property, and we'll have big shadow. That's number one, which is relating to variance number one. And we have a minor objection about the deck on the back. Deck will be too high, and it will be, we'll be losing our privacy. And the third one is my wife going to speak. And
Okay.
Go ahead, Anna.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes, I just want to make sure that the allowance on the side of the house, the entire side of the house, is 5 feet 11 inches. That's my, yes. Well, yes, that's what I'm worried about too.
That was your concern. Okay.
Yes, that was my concern. And yes, and certainly the balcony is a big issue in terms of our privacy in the backyard.
Okay.
I think that's our issues. Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Dosani, did you want to add something, or you're all through?
No, we both are, we have same objection. We are in agreement.
Okay,
The only other thing is that I do not understand variance 3, where you've been talking about height. In our document, it just talks about the width of the stairs. So I don't see what the issue of the height is.
Okay, all right. So any question for these speakers, Mr. and Mrs. Dosani? No? Okay, so I guess that's it. And we go back to the agent. Nafis? Nafise?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
could you please address those concerns? Everyone seems to be concerned about the height, which the change you made to 9.48 does not seem to satisfy them. Could you please go over that and tell us what you want to do?
Yes. Okay, I just want to explain that our main wall height on 3 walls of the building, both sides that faces the neighbors and the rear side, it's under 8 meters. It is 7.90 on the 3 sides. So there is no shadowing or overshadowing issue on the neighbors on the side. And our architectural element in the front is going to be a very thick layer, maybe just 6 inches thick. And it's just in the front wall. It doesn't encroach to the sides. It doesn't encroach to the rear. It just stays on the front wall. So there wouldn't be any overshadowing on those because the roof, our roof itself, is complies with the bylaw. It's under 10 meters and somehow apply with the comply with the old bylaw too. So as I said, in terms of that, and that was the reason that staff asked us to tie the decision to the elevation, because we just want to keep that 9.48 meters in the front. And the reason that we couldn't lower that down is that, as you can see on the drawing, it exactly finishes where we have our second floor ceiling. So we cannot even lower that. This is the maximum we could do to 9.48 meters. And as I said, it's just 6 inches thick architectural elements. It's not going to have any shadow or anything on the neighbors. The entire side walls on both sides, it's just 7.9 meters, which is just a foot over what is permitted and has been approved in the area in many houses. And as for the deck and balcony variance, we don't have any deck and balcony variances. And I would like to add that you can see we don't even have any setback variances. We try to stay within what is permitted. We don't have a setback variance. We don't have length or depth variance. We just try to keep everything within what is permitted. And the only reason of the height is just that architectural element in the front that we couldn't lower down from what is really discussed with the planning staff, and they were okay with that. And as a tree, of course, we're going to deal with urban forestry, and we don't have any deck or balcony variance at all to be concerned about.
Okay.
So I'm happy to answer your questions.
Okay, so the only change you made, number 1 to 9.48 and number 2 to 32%. That's it. That's the
Yes.
changes you made. Okay, well, let's see what the members are saying. Any question for the speaker? Okay. If not, can I have a motion then? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, after reviewing the plans, listening to the presentations, and going over the changes that have been made, this strikes me as a minor set of variances. I'll move to approve them with the revisions we discussed. So variance number 1 changed from 9.9 meters to 9.48 meters. Variance 2 changed from 32.3% to 32%. Also, I will tie this approval to the staff recommendation that the proposal be constructed substantially in accordance with the west and east elevation drawings, and I'll also make it subject to urban forestry.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Siskind, all in favor? Okay, unanimously. Okay, your application is unanimously approved, subject to those changes you made and subject to the condition of the staff and also to forestry.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
If I may break in? Yeah. I'd like to request maybe our lunch break, midday break.
Yeah.
Would this be an appropriate time?
Yeah, we're going to, we have three more applications and we're breaking for lunch. Is that okay? Or you want to break now?
Well, I was hoping to do it a little earlier than 3, but I'm happy to go along if that's.
Well, it's not.
I know we have a lot to get through today.
Yeah, it's only 1:15, and we have number 20, 21, and 22, 3 applications. And if we finish those one, we'll break on time for a thing. Is that okay? Are you okay with that, members, or you want it right now? Would you like a small break before we do these 3?
That's fine.
Mr. Chair, are there many speakers for the next 3 items, or
Next
does
3
it appear
items,
to be only?
Not too many. No, this the first one was one extra speaker. Number 22, 1 extra speaker, and number 21, no speaker except for the agent. So I think the 20 will go pretty fast on these 3, and we break on time, which is 1:30, and then we'll have the lunch. Is that okay? You're okay with that? Okay. All right. So number 20, which is 157 Upper Canada Drive.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Hi, Mr. Ali Moini. Are you there?
Yes, my name is Ali Moini, and I'm the resident at 157 Upper Canada Drive.
Okay, could you please state you're the owner, right?
I am the owner.
Okay,
correct.
could you please tell us, give us, because there is one more speaker, give us a very small presentation so we can move on.
Certainly. My family and I have resided at this location for over 10 years now, and we've been blessed with children over the past few years. And now we've outgrown this 70+ years old house and in need of a larger house. Throughout the process, we worked very closely with the city staff to keep all the variances in keeping with the official plan and the approved and newly built houses in the neighborhood. We've reduced down the requested items to just 4 variances, which all have been requested and approved within the 500 meters radius of this house. We're not setting any new precedents in the neighborhood. In our opinion, this development is a great fit to this neighborhood, and variances are minor in nature. As part of the material I've submitted, I've included an Excel sheet with a few samples of the approved projects. Of course, there are plenty different examples. I just picked out a few in the vicinity of our house for each item to support our proposal. If you see a need, if the staff could put it up, I can speak to them. Other than that, we're looking forward to this, and we thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. We'll stay right there because we'll have to have one more speaker. Elizabeth Poroslav, are you there? Is she there? Elizabeth Poroslay, are you there?
Hello? Yes.
Yeah, can you please state your name and address for us?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is Stephen Poroslay. I'm representing Elizabeth Poroslay. I'm her son. We live at 159 Upper Canada Drive. We're direct neighbors to 157 Upper Canada Drive. And indeed, has been a great neighbor. We've had great relationships with him. Unfortunately, recently we got this brief that they were changing the house, and they never consulted us, and neither any of the other neighbors. Now, the issue is I submitted a brief. Hopefully you've been able to read it. We understand the need to develop bigger houses and the standards within the community, and sometimes changing variances. In this case, the variances are to the length, width, and height of the house, effectively ballooning it out a bit. There are minor variances in the width and the height, and that's fine. But there is a 1.96 meter increase to the length of the house. And this increase comes at the back of the house. And that's going to significantly affect the views from our home, the light into our home, as well as the air circulation around our home. I know that's not a big concern necessarily, but it is something to consider. Additionally, it is setting a precedent in the neighborhood. This is a large house, as you know, and houses at 161 Upper Canada Drive, as well as 155 Upper Canada Drive, and around 1.96 meters back. So this 1.96 extension is, in fact, a precedent-setting request in this area. And so what we would like to voice our objections to is that 1.96 meters. We understand the need for bigger homes for families and growing families, but those things shouldn't come at the expense of the neighbors. So that's basically my view. One more thing, there is a large oak tree, red oak tree at the back, of which this house would come about 1.5 meters. The forestry has been out, and so they'll be submitting a report at some point. Anyway, I know that's not your purview, so that's fine. So anyway, hopefully this has helped you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Let's see if members have any question for you. Any question for the speaker? Okay. I think that's the only speaker we have. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, that there is a question.
Yes. Oh, to the speaker? Okay. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. You had mentioned that the homes on either side, you had mentioned the length and how they're in contrast to this new proposal. Can you just go back over those numbers again?
Yeah, so I submitted a brief, and I don't know if you have it there. It was based on the city drawings that we got, and there I show where it shows the back of our house, which is a small bungalow, then the proposed house, as well as the 155. Do you have that by any chance?
Yeah. You're saying the length is 1.6 meters extra. Is that correct?
I think it's 1.96, about 1.96.
1.96. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's the length of the house. Huh?
At the back. So if you pull up the city plans that show the aerial view of the three houses, so it would show 159, proposed 157, and then 155. You can clearly see how this extra addition sticks out from 155, which is a similarly large house.
Thank you.
Okay, and any other question?
Yeah, that's not the city plan though, is it? Yeah, there's a city plan. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's. I'm trying to orient myself here.
Are you okay? So
I'm looking at it on my phone, you know.
yeah, it's okay. We see the difference in length that was bothering you between the length that's required and 1.96 extra. So
yeah, it's in my brief as well. I kind of
yeah.
point.
Okay, we got that.
Otherwise, it's no problem with the house. I mean, you know, the neighborhoods change. It's to our benefit, but that is our only issue, and it comes at the back quickly.
All right, so we'll have the agent comes back into the owner. I mean, come back and explain it. Mr. Ali Moini. Ali Moini, are you still there?
Yes, I'm unmuted now.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, thank you.
Could you please address that concern? They're concerned about the
Certainly.
land. Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is my own house, but I happen to be a licensed architect with 20 years of experience with different municipalities. I am fully aware of basically the precedents in the neighborhood, and we are not setting any precedents. And with all due respect, in my humble opinion, there are no scientific building code or planning logics behind the comments in the letter. Not to mention that the merit of these items have been reviewed and approved by this very committee many times over in the past. If the staff could kindly put up the Excel sheet that I submitted, I assume my neighbor did not have the benefit of seeing the examples as to what's been approved in the vicinity, and these are just a few examples. If you can just put that up, please. Can you kindly put up the Excel sheet?
You got it? No, in my list is not there. Yeah, our records do not show that statistics. Do you? Who did you submit it to?
I submitted originally along with everything else to Committee of Adjustment.
Okay,
but
so
if you don't have it, I could just go over it.
Yeah, just please.
Yes, I would
state a number of them and move on.
Absolutely. Specifically, I don't know if you do see a need for me to speak to number 1, 3, and 4, which are very minor and don't impact the neighbor. I can skip those if you like. I have examples of all of those within 500 meters of this house being approved. Specifically, number 2, the length of the house. I have examples and the actual basically rulings of the committee that's been approved just behind our house at number 50 Cotswold, number 10 Fairmeadow, number 7 Masters, number 149 Upper Canada. We see that in the same zoning, basically 19.58 meters has been approved across the house. And there has been a scenario here that 20.8 meters has been approved for the first floor extension out. And basically in our house, in our example, which is much less than that, by the way, some of these zonings are calling for 16.8 meters, which 20 plus meters has been approved in the past. Our zoning calls for 17 meters and basically 18.96 meters. For a very small portion of the house, as you see on the left side, we do not believe it's going to negatively impact our neighbor. By all means, by the comments made on the letter, their house has been sitting about 4 meters out from our house for the last 70 plus years. Should the circulation be of a concern, then we would have stopped breeding a long time ago. And that being said, view, I don't think basically it's expected for the neighbor to look through our backyard in order to get a view.
Okay. Thank you. There's a staff condition to built in accordance with the site plan. You're okay with that, huh?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
There is a condition from the staff to build in accordance with the site plan you submitted.
Certainly.
Okay. Questions? Any question to the speaker? No? So please, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair. After listening to the discussion and reviewing the proposal, and in keeping with the developments in that neighborhood, these are minor variances. So I'll move to approve this application and make it subject to the staff recommendation that the building length be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan, and also make it subject to urban forestry.
Thank you. Second, Mrs. Kind, are in favor? Okay, unanimously. Sir, your application is approved unanimously based on the condition of the staff and forestry.
Thank you very much.
Okay, number 21, which is 5 Frivic Court, application number 21.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
staff is attempting to reach out to the applicant with respect to this one, so perhaps we can hold this item.
Oh, okay, he's not there.
Yeah, perhaps we could revisit it after lunch.
After lunch,
Yeah.
okay. Number 22, which is 46 Answorth Avenue, application number 22. Mr. Stephen Lindy, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, could you please, we have one more speaker here. Is Stephen Russell here? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we have one more speaker here. Therefore, we need you to make a presentation, and please cover the changes that you made. You told to the planning to make changes to variance number 1 and 2, and they're asking a modification of number 1 to a maximum of 0.9. So the change you made, it has to be changed. So if you cover those ones, we appreciate it.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Stephen Lindy, architect and agent of the proposal, located at 48 Bedford Park Avenue. Mr. Chair, we are asking the committee to please revise the requested variances as follows. Variance 1, to revise the requested floor space index to 0.96. The variance 2, to revise the requested sidewall height to 9.25 meters. So that's 0.96 FSI and 9.25 meter sidewall height.
Okay, so you saw the staff report, and they're asking to 0.9 only, not 9.6. So you're against that, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Variance 3 unchanged.
Okay.
If I may direct the committee's attention to the supporting document, June 24th, supporting material submitted by us. Yes, thank you. The existing is a 2-story semi-detached dwelling. The proposed is a third floor addition with patios on the second and third floor and rear shed accessory structure. On the first page you see before you is we have precedence research for sidewall height and floor space index. There were 9 examples of precedence for sidewall height and 5 precedents for floor space index. The next page, please. The existing streetscape is shown on the second page using photographs. Next page. On the third page, we find the proposed streetscape drawing and illustrates that the proposed matches the existing pattern of development for heights in the area. Some potential future developments based on the existing pattern of development is sort of extrapolated with the dotted lines. On the fourth page, please, is the study of depths, lengths of houses in the area and highlights how compact the proposal is in relation to other houses. The last page, just keep going through. Yes, the last page shows the side, last page. Yes, the last page shows the side elevation and how the proposed compares with other houses in the area and shows how the front wall slopes towards the street and steps back from the third floor to the second floor at rear. The stepping back at rear helps with shadow impact. The existing house depth, length, and width is unchanged. The side yard setback is unchanged. The proposed complies for front wall height and the roof height complies. This next one, thank you. In the green, the light green is what the planner wants with 0.9, and 0.96 is what we're asking for. Next page. Thank you. So if we were to reduce the item to 0.9, it would basically render the item not feasible from a construction point of view. So the 0.9, we're asking the committee to approve the 0.96, and that reason I'm getting confused here. So yeah, in the plan, the stair and the washroom and the function of the addition would not work. So the third floor addition we are proposing is only 45.52 meters, 490 square feet. That's smaller than a 1-bedroom apartment, whereas 0.9 is 35.02 square meters. It's not enough to even do the project in that case. So it would alter the function and efficiency of the plan to the point where it's no longer justifies the project. And then for the committee, the owner has consulted with the community, and we have conducted extensive outreach. People had questions and answered the questions, and in return, we have received 17 letters of support from the community. We have letters of support, Mr. Chair, you can pull up now.
No, you don't have to pull them. We have them. We have
Thank you very much.
17.
In addition, the owner has submitted all documentation to the BPRO, the local community group, and BPRO has indicated to the owner they have no concerns for our proposal. The owner has also kept Linda McCarthy from Councillor Cole's office informed, as well as provided the 17 letters to the councillor's office. So we believe that the broad amount of support has. Sorry, thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, the letter of support, we got them, and there is no more speakers, members. The speaker, the others, I'm told here that the speaker who was supposed to be here is not here, so that's the end of it. So we have just the applicant here, the agent, and please, if you have any questions, we'll wrap it up. And if there's no questions, we need a motion, please. Mr. Klassen?
Well, Mr. Chair,
I don't hear him.
Here.
We don't hear, yeah. Mr. Klassen, we lost.
Apologies. Yes, apologies. I'm
lost you.
back now.
Okay.
I will attempt a motion. This is a case where the staff report obviously makes a recommendation that we have to either ignore or accept. So I'm going to make this motion that variance 1 be changed, but changed to what the staff report is recommending, which is 0.9. And that the that variance 2 be changed to 9.25 meters, and that is my motion.
Very good. Okay, thank you. All right, so
Thank
the
you.
motion is to go for 0.9 as per staff, and do I have a second?
So,
Ms.
Mr.
Satarodi?
Chair,
Ms.
yes, but staff asked for 0.96. The applicant asked for 0.9. Just want to clear it up. But if it's good for Mr. Clausen, I can second it.
No, it's the opposite. The staff.
Because the staff recommend 0.96 and the applicant requests 0.9.
No, it's the
And
opposite. It's the opposite.
No.
The applicant wants 0.96 and the staff is saying 0.9. Yeah?
No, I think.
I agree with Mr. Chair. If you look on the front page of the staff report, it says 0.9 is what they are recommending.
Oh, then sorry for my comment.
There was another, I think it said 0.9, yeah? So 0.96, yeah?
In the staff report, in the comment section, that was the 0.96. That's why I was confused.
Yeah.
There, it's there.
Okay, Mr. Klassen, could you go over it again? Your
But on the top, but if you go on the earlier page, previous page, after recommendation, then staff also said 0.9. So that's why it was confusing. Like if you scroll up, you will see before the application, that number is a little bit different. So it's probably, just want to point it out.
No. So, Mr. Chair, if you look at page 2, it says the applicant is proposing a change to 0.96.
Yeah.
Look at page 1. Under despite the revision, staff recommend the following variances be modified to 0.9.
Yeah, that's what
So
you see, that's what so it's a 0.9, huh?
that's staff's recommendation.
That's right.
Which is in line with Mr. Clausen's motion.
Exactly, that's what he said. So I don't know what, you see, I heard it.
Sorry for the confusion. I was just misreading.
Miss Satarodi, could you come back here? I don't see you yet.
I'm here.
Yeah, I don't see you. Could you remove that stuff?
I'm here.
Okay, now the applicant is, I think, 0.96. The staff recommend later on that he recommends 0.9, and Mr. Klassen's he recommend like he submitted a motion is in line with the staff recommendation of 0.9. So what's your question?
I was just misreading because in the next page there was different number, so that's why I just want a clarification. I understood.
Okay, so I have clarification now. We're okay. Okay, so Mr. Klassen, would you confirm your motion, please?
Yes, I've not made any change to my
No.
motion.
So your motion is to approve the application based on those changes, and you recommend the one that the staff is recommending to 0.9, and there was no forestry, right? Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Do I have a second? Ms. Siskind, all in favor? Okay, so your application is approved based on those changes and also the staff recommendation to 0.9. And that is finished for the morning, and we'll have a break.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sorry? Oh, okay. So I see everybody talks. Okay, so members, what's your suggestion for lunch? How much you need for lunch?
Well, Mr. Chair, I think I'll need about 40 minutes for lunch.
40 minutes? Okay. So within 40 minutes, we're going to advertise it on screen. Within 40 minutes, the committee will come back.
That'll make it 2:30. That'll make it 2:30. Is that right?
What time is it? Yeah.